What's up, fellas? I want to run through some key matchups of UFC Emmett versus Murphey. Generally, a really nice card, but I think there's some key matchups to pay attention to more than just the entirety of the card because the prelims aren't the most entertaining as of late. And I want to preface this card by saying I don't really understand the hate towards the Apex. Everyone bitches and moans about it, but I don't really understand the concept. It's really fun to hear what the corners are saying, to hear the action itself, the leg kicks, the really hard punches to the body. I mean, it's so immersive to me. I mean, I understand why fans would want to see the crowd more often and hear the big pops, but unless it's really big matchups, I think it's really good for people's careers to start off in the Apex anyways, so it's a great way to get prospects started. And speaking of prospects, we've got Daniel Santos and Davey Grant to start off my list. These guys are both so fucking entertaining in their own rights. Davey Grant being the wily, interesting, unique striker that he is with some really fun grappling in between versus a guy like Daniel Santos who's on a 2-year layoff, who's an absolute savage prior to his layoff. Has had so many canceled bouts and injuries in between. I'm really glad he's still part of the UFC because I thought they would have cut him by now. I'm really excited to see him get back to action and see what he's improved on in the shoot box camp itself with Charles Oliveira and Elvis Brenner and guys like that. So this is a really fun matchup, and if Daniel Santos can get off running and get this victory, he'll be a real force in the bantamweight division to scare some guys out there and really get them, get their minds working and think, oh, I got to fight Daniel Santos next, If you can get past a guy like Davey Grant, you're a savage because Davey Grant kicks ass. And with the next key matchup, I've got Torrez, Finney, and Robert Valentin. These guys are both off the Dana White's Contender Series, and they're both very talented in their own right. Very raw. Both are very raw. I think Robert Valentin, his biggest issue is obviously the ground, and Torrez Finney, the absolute opposite. It's the standing. If Robert Valentin can get the shots off early and often, I could see this being a really fun matchup where either guy prospers in their own stand-up or ground range. I lean towards Torrez Finney getting a win out here, but I really don't know who wins this matchup. I want Robert Valentin to win. He's much more entertaining. I think a lot of people disagree with Torrez Finney's style. He's literally built like a refrigerator, and just picks people up and drops them and then holds them to the ground. No real finishing ability as of what I've seen. Only against real cans can control and just rain down blows. But other than that, he has no real potential in my opinion. So I can't wait to see this matchup, and whoever comes out on top, I think will come out a lot better as a person and as a fighter. We've got the old crafty vets next, and Brad Tavares and Gerald Meerschaert. Give me GM3 by fluke. Just give me like Brad Tavares beating the garbage out of Gerald Meerschaert for 2 straight rounds. And then the very end of the third, Gerald Meerschaert throwing up like a Peruvian choke or like a head and arm triangle for the finish at the end of the round. Gerald Meerschaert is so gritty, and Brad Tavares isn't known for the most amazing gas tank in the world. I just see this being a really fun matchup with 2 crafty vets that don't really have anything specifically to prove. They've already proven kind of what they are in the division. I think it's funny they're putting 2 crafty vets who are made to fraud check certain prospects against each other. Hey, I'm here for it. I think GM3 is going to pull off the fluke. I can't wait for this matchup, and I think it's going to be a real treat. Next, we got a heavyweight prospect that's been budding as of late, and Nzechukwu is going against the most boring fighter in the entirety of the heavyweight division, which is saying a fucking lot, in Martin Buday. Martin Buday is booty. Absolutely booty. This guy sucks. I can't stand watching him fight. And Nzechukwu basically finishes every guy he fights or gets finished. And I don't really see a route where he does get beaten in this fight unless he gets smudged to the ground and held. I hope Kennedy has worked on his takedown defense because it has been seen to be lackluster in the past against guys like Ian Kutalaba. I see this being a fun matchup where Nzechukwu kind of pieces apart Martin Buday and probably gets the finish in the first or second. Next, with the co-main event itself, we've got Joanderson, Brito, and Pat Sabatini. Really fun matchup again. I've been loving how the matchmaking has been working out for this card. No huge names, but honestly, really fun stylistic matchups. And you've got a guy who's just an absolute savage, and Joanderson Brito. This guy just loves to run full force at people, throw giant leg kicks, throw overhand rights. Everything he throws with ill intent. He wants to hurt you. He doesn't care about anything else. He doesn't want to win the fight. He doesn't care. He just wants you to be unconscious or to not have a leg anymore. I don't really understand his fight style, but I appreciate the fuck out of it. And then you've got Pat Sabatini, who's a controlling wrestler who likes to get subs. It just depends again. Who can implement their game style better? Pat Sabatini or Joanderson Brito? I think Joanderson Brito gets it done. I think he finishes Pat Sabatini probably pretty early because he really wears on people. And I mean, he wears on them in the very first round. There's no real room for any sort of bad technical flaws, which Pat Sabatini has against a guy like Joanderson Brito. And with the biggest key matchup of the night, of course, we got Josh Emmett and Lerone Murphey. We've got a relatively untested prospect in Lerone Murphey. He's 35. He's not a fucking prospect in my opinion, but everyone else calls him it, so I'll go along with the ride, I guess, against a guy like Josh Emmett, who's an absolutely powerful veteran that just smashes people at a whim. We're talking Bryce Mitchell. We're talking Dan Ige. We're talking basically any featherweight that wants to be anything at featherweight usually gets smashed by Josh Emmett. I see it happening again. I don't think Lerone Murphey has the greatest defense on the ground or on the feet. If Josh Emmett touches him once in this fight, he's falling it to the ground and he's putting him fully out if he's not already unconscious from the first strike. We saw that Lerone Murphy has a good gas tank and lasts well against guys like Edson Barbosa. A 34, 35-year-old Edson Barbosa on his way out of the sport is not the same as a Josh Emmett that still hits like a truck. There's a lot of ways I see this matchup going down, but most of them go down with Lerone Murphy on the canvas, and I'm excited to see this matchup regardless. If you think I messed up on anything or I missed any key matchups, let me know in the comments. I always think it's interesting to see what people think about, my opinions of the sport. So y'all have a great day.